Coach CB says you only gave him the 1 day off, not 2. Is that accurate? And what was the reason behind that?
No, it's not accurate at all. They had off the rest of Saturday and they had off Sunday. So that's not accurate at all. No, today we're going to do a walkthrough. So we were off Sunday. We practiced hard yesterday. We'll do a walkthrough today, try to tighten a few things up and do a little bit of shooting. So that's basically an off day. And then we'll hook up again tomorrow.
You mentioned down there, and you've said a lot this season, that there's another gear, another level you guys can go to. What do you have to do this week in preparation to kind of position yourselves to take that jump?
Well, we need to do that. I think health plays a role in it. We need our 2 bigs healthy, both David and Mitch, and I think that David feels pretty good, and I think that Mitch has made great improvement, and hopefully he'll be close to, whole by Friday. And then we need, one thing about it, Remy he's been kind of our lifeline, so to speak, off the bench, and has done great. But we haven't collectively played as well around him. I mean, it's been like he's carried us, and we need to get probably a little bit more balance and from our perimeter scores in addition to Remy. So I think that'll make us a little bit hard to guard as well.
Coach, Providence, an older team, a big team.
Really old team.
Yeah, like all Mitch Lightfoot's out there.
Yeah.
How would you describe them? Do they remind you of anybody? And does it make for maybe a more thorough scout playing them after they just played Creighton twice in the last 10 days?
Well, even though we watched the Creighton game for us before we played Creighton, naturally, we did the same with Providence, but didn't quite watch it in the same light. But yeah, I think we'll have a decent book on its team. If I was going to say there's a team that they kind of remind me of, it may be ours. They play 4 round 1. They've got 4 guys in the game at almost all times that can stretch it. If Remy is in the game and not Juan, that's kind of how we look. Even though Juan can make a shot, that's not what he likes to do as much. But I see some similarities in their team and our team. They don't really post their guards a lot, and we do some, but not a lot either. And they play 4 round 1, and their big guy is a guy who can go make a basket a lot like David can. So I see a lot of similarities with us.
Oh, Bill, you said we're a different team with Remy out there. Strategically, what does that look like with him?
Well, I think this time of year, more so than maybe the second half of your conference season when you're playing a team a second time, and this time of year where the teams are naturally better the further you go, it's hard to get good shots off your stuff you run. You get shots off your players more than you do the stuff you run. You want to run good stuff to put your players in position to get a look or whatever, but very rarely do you get some of the things I feel that you get during the regular season. So with that being said, Remy out there, you can run bad offense and he can just make a shot. And that's what great teams all have, players like that. Unless you're just so ultra talented at every spot. But that's what I think it kind of comes down to this time of year is guys jumping up there and taking a marginal shot and making it. And we haven't really shot the ball well yet in the tournament from 3. So, and we didn't in the Big 12 tournament as well. So hopefully we've got plenty of makes left in us in Chicago.
And how did you vet him? He's not the first transfer you got or the first grad transfer, but there's things off the court, that you want to know about a guy. And everything I hear from the players is even during his downtimes,
he's great.
Yeah,
he's great. What I thought we needed last year was a boost of speed. I really didn't feel like the team we had last year was as athletic and explosive enough to really make a run this year if it stayed status quo. It turned out I was kind of wrong. because we are fairly athletic, and the guys have done pretty well even when Remy wasn't out there, because it's the same team as last year, guys, minus Marcus Garrett, same team for the most part. So, but I think the pieces have all improved and gotten better. CB and Jalen and Oach have all made huge jumps, and so has Juan. But I think Remy gives us a chance to, little things like getting open late game when the team's pressing. You don't have to run something to get open. Just Remy, go get open. Things like that. Just give you a different element that we didn't have before, that I think all teams need.
Coach, getting to playing in Chicago in front of a big KU alumni base might have some of that energy in the room. Is that a factor, or is too much made of that? Or what are your thoughts about playing in Chicago?
Oh, well, first of all, it's great for me personally, because I've had a chance to play there a few times when I was in Champaign, and I love the United Center, and because we used to play games there every year and played NCAA tournament there, and we played in the tournament there also. I think in 2007 was it that we played in the United Center as well. We like it there. I think the fans will bring energy. I got to be real honest with you. I hope that they show up and bring the energy. I think, in Fort Worth, we didn't really have we had fans there, but it wasn't like a real strong contingent of a lot of folks there. But Chicago, we have such a big alumni base. And the thing that's different about the NCAA tournament, though, if, our alums in Chicago may not have the foresight 12 months ago to purchase tickets for this site. So there'll be a lot of tickets that's purchased that's not team affiliated. They're just basketball fans. And so, and then the NCAA gives out, 1,100, 1,200 is to whatever to every school. Then it's up to those schools and those fans to hustle. And I think it's time for our fan base to hustle and get there, because what you said does play a role in success. We saw that in San Diego, if I'm not mistaken, with TCU in Arizona. That was an amazing TCU contingent, loud, but Arizona, I guarantee you, had 2/3 of the building, and it was a home game for them. And although we can't make it a home game for us in Chicago, but we can certainly play our role to make sure that nobody has an advantage over us.
Kind of speaking of TCU, your last week of the regular season of the Big 12 tournament, you knew at the time just how good those teams were. The first two rounds of the NCAA certainly show that you beat some really tough teams. Yeah. Just how good do you feel, confidence level, that you got through, and iron sharpens iron?
Well, I do. I like our team. We lost to Baylor. It was a tie game under 4 timeout or whatever. I actually thought we played pretty well. I didn't think we played well at TCU, and they handled us down there. And then coming back, I don't think we played particularly well in either game against TCU or Texas, but I thought we made sure the other team didn't play very well, which is obviously a huge deal. And then we got on a little mini roll in Kansas City, and played fairly well in Fort Worth. Didn't play as well against Creighton, but I think Creighton had a lot to do with that. But I think our guys think that we're battle tested. I believe we're battle tested, but I will tell you this: Providence thinks they're battle tested too. I mean, the Big East is no joke as well. So it'll be two good teams that have had some pretty tough battles this year hooking up. It should be very competitive.
Yeah, Bill, Ochai's already a consensus All-American, but to be a finalist for the Naismith Trophy, can that do anything for him? What can that do for him?
To be a finalist?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think really, Chris knows better than me because he handles all those things with him through the sports information department. But I don't see Oach acting one bit different. I don't see him being excited if he's on a list. I wouldn't see him being down if he wasn't. I think he is focused on Kansas playing well. I really do. I think sometimes I think this time of year, things like that can play a positive role and give you confidence, but I also think it can add pressure sometimes because, people expect you now to even perform at a level higher than what you've been performing at all year long. I don't think Oach is hung up on that at all. I think Oach is right here. And that's the best way to be.
But what do you see from Providence offensively?
Well, like I said, Jesse, I think they're, I'm not saying personnel is exactly the same, but they're a lot like us. They can score from all 5 spots. Basically they have 5 guys averaging double figures. I think they got 2 averaging 9.9. So that's basically all 5 averaging double figures. And it looks a little bit like us. And then they bring in a guy that can stretch it right after that. But what I see is, it's they want to throw it inside, but they got 5 guys that have all shot between 102 and 173s or whatever it is, something like that. So, that makes you concerned that they're all capable and willing shooters. And if 2 of those 5 get hot, that could be 8 threes right there. So you got to do a really good job defending the arc.
And your guys talked about an emphasis on spacing. Can you just, what would you like to see from your team in that regard?
Well, I thought the way that Creighton played us, we made the court more crowded than what it is because of them being in such strong help and everybody being open, that everybody just ran to the ball. To me, it looked like a 3rd grade youth recreational basketball team sometime, when whoever gets the rebound, 4 guys go over there and try to take it from them. I mean, that's kind of what I thought we did at times, on a few possessions there. So we need to make opponents guard all 50 feet and then basically about 30 feet, 50 feet wide and about 30 feet deep, as opposed to just everybody playing top the key extended, which we did that way too much the other day.
Bill, they've won, Providence has won, I think, 11 games by 5 or fewer points, including Wisconsin and Tech. Is there a certain resilience that a team needs to be able to close out games?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. The thing you have to have is you got to have players that can make plays when things aren't drawn up to go make plays for them. I mean, you can't call a timeout every single possession and go out and say we're going to get a shot from this spot and this guy's going to shoot it. There's no Larry Birds out there saying I'm going to catch it here and I'm going to shoot it from right here. And so guys have to be able to go make plays, and they have multiple guys that can go make plays, especially off the bounce. And I think that's a big key. The other thing, I think those stats are a little bit misleading. Sometimes close games, 5-point games, is when you have an 11-point lead with 30 seconds left and you let it get it to 4. That would be us a lot. I think sometimes the records are a little misleading. Or if you're down 11 with 30 left and you cut it to 3, you don't know how to close a game. You did know how to close a game. You just waited too long. So I think we can skew those stats however we want to. But in Providence's case, they've probably been involved as many close games as anybody in the country and had as much success winning those games, which is obviously a credit to their players, but also to Ed and staff too.
I'm not talking in game Friday night when the ball goes up, but I think this is going to be your 14th time coaching in the Sweet 16, and this will be Ed's first. I think he did one as an assistant too. Can that be an advantage this week leading up to that? And then I also want to hear just your experience with him and if you've crossed paths, things like that.
Personally, I would hope that would be an advantage, but in my mind is not an advantage. In my mind is who does the best job of getting their team ready to play and eliminate distractions, and then going out there and enjoying, savoring the moment. That to me what it's more about. And there's veteran coaches that are really good at it, and there's first year guys that could be just as good or better than veteran coaches at it. So I don't think there's, who knows, but Ed's, I've known Ed for a while. I wouldn't consider us close friends, but we are close friends enough that I think we were on a red eye back from Vegas to Augusta, or to Atlanta, and then on to Augusta one summer when he was coaching at BC, and my bags got lost. I had no clothes to wear, so I went recruiting in a Boston College shirt. That day, he was nice enough to loan me a Boston College shirt, and I actually had it cleaned and delivered to him after that. But we're not close friends, but we're close enough to wear each other's clothes. So I don't know. I don't remember. I wasn't concerned about getting him any, but no, it's just for a day.
What do you think of Iowa State and Charlie Moore being in the same 4-team tournament this
Well,
week?
I'm happy for TJ and Iowa State, and probably more so for Tristan. He gets a chance to play in the Sweet 16, and I'm really happy for Charlie getting a chance to play in the Sweet 16. We've seen Iowa State could have beat us here. You guys all saw that game, and then Miami. They were in the tournament with us in Dayton. I mean, I'm sorry, when we lost to Dayton in Orlando, and they're a totally different team now. I mean, it's unbelievable the job that they've done in Miami to flip that thing. I mean, when they talk about national coaches of the year, of course, TJ'd have to be considered. Ed should be considered. Winning the Big East, but Jim, I don't see how you could leave him out based on where they were and where they are now. Nobody would have predicted that. They've done an unbelievable job.
Any questions from the Zoom?
Yeah, Coach, I got one for you. Richmond had been a good 3-point shooting team. We saw Gilliard in particular that first tournament game. I think as a group, they were 1 for 23 against Providence. What is it about their perimeter defense that made them so difficult to score?
Well, I think athletically, as much as anything, I think they can get to shooters. They've got length on the perimeter in most all spots, they're quick, they're athletic, and they guard. If you look at their defensive stats for the year, I forgot exactly what their 3-point defensive stats were, but I think they give up 41 from the field as a team, and they're going to guard and playing a team like Richmond. I guarantee Ed told them no layups, no threes, no layups, no threes. When you guard the Princeton offense, that's obviously a big key, and they did a great job in both those areas.
Bill, kind of a fun question for you. Playing in Chicago, you mentioned playing at the United Center when you're coaching Illinois. I was just asking some of the players about Michael Jordan being there, and the statue's right outside the United Center, but they didn't really know about it, obviously, because they're too young for that. But just your memories of, Michael Jordan playing in Chicago and just being able to watch that go down and everything that goes involved and how special it is to play at United Center because of who played there.
Well, it's you guys may not know this, but I'm actually in 1981. That was the year that Ewing and Mullen and Barkley and Jordan and Self all came out the same year. So I'm very familiar with Michael. I know you asked those guys a question of maybe who the GOAT was or something like that, and I think guys, depending on when they grew up, probably always lean a certain direction, and there's not a right or a wrong answer. But from my perspective, when I grew up, I mean, I was a Bird guy. I love Magic, but there was nobody like Mike, and so it is exciting. And I wasn't actually in Champaign when Michael was playing. He had just retired, so I just missed out on that. But when you talk about the most popular athletes of all time, he'd have to be in. He and Ali and Tiger and LeBron may be the 4 most popular athletes of all time.
Hey, Bill, this is Jerry Tipton in Lexington. I wanted to ask, if you guys win Friday, Kansas is the all-time leader in victories. I'm guessing that might be a potential distraction, but I'm wondering what it means to you to achieve that, to the Kansas program, to Kansas fans.
Jerry, I'll be real candid with you. All that means to me is that we beat Providence. That's all that means to me. I think those type of things are great and can be you could use for recruiting potentially if you're ever in that position. I'm sure that Kentucky's used that over the years, which they should. And maybe if we could ever get there, maybe we could use it as well. But I don't really think that what happens now really has a lot to do with what happened in 1915 and 1935 and other years like that. So we just hope that we hope we become that. But for me and for our players, it's only because that meant we would have won one more game.
Bill, one other question for me, was the You guys lost to Kentucky 80-62. Was that just one game, one adventure in a season of adventures? Or did that game have any sort of pivotal quality to it for you guys going forward?
Well, I actually think that that game was good for us. Even if we were good that game, I'm not sure our good would have been good enough to beat their great. That game, I thought they were fabulous. That game, they were by far the best team we played this year. That game, and they didn't have a weakness that game. So, you know, I was disappointed because the stage was big, and of course nobody likes losing, especially at home when it means a lot to your fan base. But I think that was good for us because it humbled us to know that in order for us to compete at the highest level, which they were that day, we've got to get a lot better in a lot of areas. So it was probably as important a game as we played this year. I know we had some big wins, but I'm not sure any win was bigger or better for us than that loss was for us on that day.
Thanks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Coach, I got one about Jerome Lang. You would have coached against him all the years. Scott Drew, of course, was at Baylor. Thoughts about him, impressions that you have, relationship, contact. What can you tell us?
Well, he's going to do a great job. He's earned it. He's earned to be a head coach many years ago, and has waited it out and very patiently to get the position that he felt like was the best fit for him, and it was going to happen. Is inevitable, and he's a great hire. He's a great hire. He's a good guy. I actually recruited one of his kids to Oral Roberts in like 1996. His name was Robert Johnson. So I believe Jerome was coaching at Christian Heritage or Heritage Christian, one of the two in Houston, and he was just getting his feet wet, and I was too, to be honest with you. So, but I'm happy for Jerome. I left him a message today. His answer machine already said, "What a great day to be a Wildcat." And I said, I beg to differ, but I am very happy for you, and look forward to us getting a chance to spend some time together. But it'll be fun. It'll be fun. It'll be competitive, and there'll certainly be battles.
23rd Street Brewery proudly presents the Bill Self Press Conference. 23rd Street Brewery is a full-service brew pub. Great food, great drinks, great fun. Dine-in, carry-out, or curbside pickup available. In Lawrence at the corner of Clinton Parkway and Castle Drive.